And good morning, everyone. This is Vijetha here from Time Bangalore. We are putting together this session. This is a startup pitch session. The pitch deck will be reviewed by Ashutosh, and any inputs that is given. This, of course, doesn't mean that the founders don't know what they're doing, but then always a perspective and a thought process and input will always help and maybe change the way that we look at how we can present to. And I think this is not just for investment alone. It can also be for investors. It could be for customers. It could be for your potential employees, co-founders, ecosystems, partners, accelerators, etc. Okay. So without delaying further, Ashutosh, I would like you to first talk about yourself essentially, and then we'll move to the presentations. And before that, how Koushik and me know is because we have been part of the community and ecosystem. It's thanks to organization called Head Start Network Foundation. It's a not-for-profit, volunteer-driven. I think there are just what 2 or 3 employees. So if you remember, Koushik, we met at the IBM place where we stood there for a startup Saturday.
Correct.
And many years back, this is like what 5 years back, maybe 6 years back, and it was my first ecosystem kind of activity. And Kaushik was, of course, a senior guy. He was mentoring all the founders and startups, talking to them about the journey. Very interesting conversation. I was listening in, Kaushik.
Vijetha will always say more than what you do.
But I think what matters, Kaushik, is we have been part of the ecosystems, part of the communities, and despite the fact that you and Ashutosh are both founders, you have to pay 24/7 attention to your startups and to what you're doing. The fact that you're taking time out to also add value to the community and to the ecosystem is much appreciated. And I think that's more power to you folks. And with that, Ashutosh, is your show, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Vijetha. Uh, I love the way you talk it, and then you create that story around like how you met people. Our story is somewhat similar, so we met that way as well. So I'll just give my introduction, Koushik. So I've been in the industry for almost 17 years, and I started investments in 2007. And I've been investing in startups since as an angel investor. I do run 2 startups of my own, both bootstrapped, and I've been running it for almost 5 years now. And then I'm also part of a lot of ecosystems, INQ being one of them. So I'm the global, director over there for strategy and innovation, and I also manage the fund strategy over there. Okay. So Vijetha and I talking about how pitch needs to be recognized, and then what are the different aspects of the pitch that needs to be looked at, the teams and the marketing and all the things. So then the evolution of that was we talk about pitches and then see how we can add some inputs to the pitches. And as Vijetha said, right, I mean, this is not about pointing fingers or anything. It's just about like one perspective from as a entrepreneur to entrepreneur, as a like an angel investor to what I'd like to see. So this is what we were, and then this is how we started. So now over to you. I think we can start with your introduction, and then we can start with the pitch session as well.
Sure. So 1 minute. I'm just trying to get this presentation going as well. Here's Okay. So yeah, as Vijetha mentioned, so the moment I was kind of when I met Vijetha, I was actually in the I had just moved out of corporate last year. So currently I have like over 20 years actually in the industry. Having and I kind of worked with all size and the shapes of companies, right? So I've done startups even during the .com era. I mean, I've not built myself, but I've been part of startups. And even before starting NOOS Technologies as well, I have been part of multiple startups. Even one startup based in South Africa. So I was about to travel there, and then I didn't. So life would have been very different. Maybe then, I never know. But yes, I mean, all along I've kind of enjoyed my work both in startups and as well as in corporates actually. So every corporate I had fun doing whatever I was doing. I did always new things, and moved across industries from consumer electronics to banking to application server development to semiconductors and data or informatics related companies. Okay, so I will start with the slide. I hope you can see the slide.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, see, as a business, while we provide security, our main goal really is how can we protect life, right? So, and how can we protect life, and how can we protect jobs or livelihood, right? And that is essentially we're building trust in the supply chain, right? So, if the supply chain is right for any business, we hope to accomplish our vision. Okay. So we are today in the space of packaging security, brand protection, and consumer engagement. And while there are siloed players in the market and big names everywhere, and there are of course small names also, mostly in the track and trace or anti-counterfeit, we differentiate ourselves on two factors. So one is on the technology that we use, basically as the security or the premise of everything that happens in this space. And secondly, we have managed to combine the fragmented solution that exists today in the market. Right? So globally, $1.7 trillion are lost in counterfeiting, and they can be attributed to multiple reasons. But in essence, I mean, say if the CBI chief says that the counterfeiting kills more people than terror, right? That's a very bold statement from somebody from CBI, right? To make a statement. So for us, as in India, actually the awareness of counterfeiting is very low. But having said that, there are bodies like CBI, they are aware of what this means. And similarly, on the enterprise of the corporate side also, they also kind of take it easy. Sometimes they just do it because it is regulated. Sometimes they do it because everyone else is doing it, right? So that's the mindset we have today. It's kind of changing, but the focus is still on just getting something out there and cost. But what this results is a sell of counterfeit product or a movement of counterfeit product in the supply chain essentially results in loss of revenue for the government, loss of trust for the brand, and no brand today is, you can say, enjoys the monopoly in a purest sense, right? So we go for coffee. Coffee is not available. We switch to tea, right? Basic economics, right? So everything is kind of, there is a substitute for every product, right? So essentially, this is what is happening today. So what, from a market standpoint, right? And we understand the scale of the problem, but from a market standpoint, okay, is it interesting problem for somebody from me or say my experience to kind of come and even give it a shot, right? So each business in itself is significantly big. There are multiple players in each of these business, like we have looked up before. At track and trace, in fact, there are players, even the services companies or the ISVs kind of are in the track and trace space. There are consumer engagement. They do like what I mentioned is like Wipro, Accenture, TCS. So they all operate in that, right? But the essence is all the decision making resides finally on a QR code, right? And QR code inherently is clonable, right? You can duplicate. So if you can duplicate a QR code, it essentially means that you're sort of faking the whole experience, right? So if a customer says that you get some loyalty or reward points for scanning our product, but the product itself is duplicate, right? So, but the customer sees, okay, it's original, and they get that experience, right? So now by buying fake product, one is the brand has lost the revenue. Of course, after post-purchase, the customer will actually kind of experience something different than what they have were kind of looking for. But the brand has also lost revenue from the marketing engagement or the loyalty or reward management system. And the customer is also fooled to think that they have actually bought an original product, because the experience is the same if they buy the original or buy the duplicate. So what so how we solve this problem, right? So what we have done is we've kind of built a multi-tiered solution. Of course, this all becomes very compact into a single printable code, or it can be converted into a label format. So whatever the particular business chose to. But the essence is that the base is security, right? So once we kind of check on, okay, whether this label or image that we are scanning, right, that is original. Based on that, the kind of experience that we show to the consumer changes. So if it is a fake, it will be a different experience. If it is original, it will be a different experience. But also more importantly, the brand owner gets to know who is scanning, what we are scanning, and what is the result of the authentication. So we can tell whether the product is original or the product is duplicate, right? And that's very important, because now, while there is data before also or currently with Scott, we suddenly have data that is classified, and that becomes very powerful for any businesses on how they approach the market, how they target the market. Maybe there are pockets where they don't even sell their products, and now they are seeing counterfeit products being scanned from that region. So it immediately is an insight that there is an untapped market need that is out there, or maybe they need to kind of take some legal action to protect themselves. So, so our goal is to really to kind of keep the life simple for both the consumers who are going to authenticate, and also for the brand owners or somebody who is in the manufacturing space, right? Of course, and while we are today targeting track and trace consumer engagement, because this is a digital model, so tomorrow if there are new avenues of digital interaction or something that needs digital in its base form, those all can be kind of you can say implicitly integrated or easily integrated into the system. So basically the brands don't need to go and look for a new solution just because they need to do, say, 10 more things, right? So it can be based off the same solution. Yeah. Of course, we're very flexible from a privacy standpoint. Different regions, different places, different concerns on the privacy. So we kind of support both regional hosting, as well as we have even done data center based hosting for customers who kind of require the same. We have been recognized on multiple platforms, both in India and outside. Of course, most recent was the Data Innovation Bazaar last year, where we were in the top 40 actually of the selected winners. So I've mentioned about me. So one additional stuff, the additional point that I would like to mention about me is that I was also the second elected technical staff member in the IT division in Asia for Texas Instruments, right? And my background as such is I am a commerce background. I also have an executive MBA from Calcutta, but I have worked in tech most of my life with some stints of sales marketing experience, right? So we also have Dr. Mahalakshmi, who is just completing her PhD in image processing, specifically in the medical section. Rahul, again, has a lot of experience even running his own startup, but his experience is primarily in the back end, basically server technologies design. So we also have multiple advisors in different domains. So where we are so far, we started in 2018 from the idea. We created a basic prototype, and we actually did multiple iterations to arrive at what we wanted to do. So we tried AI/ML that time. We couldn't. So we had to build our own algorithm for image processing to be able to kind of create this unique signature on every piece of label or image, right? So recently we did a paid pilot with Tanera, which is a Titan business unit of Titan, and we have also moved into production. So during the last year, they were kind of slow on their business front. So, but we have already done, I think, one reorder now. earlier this month, in fact, right, with them. So we are also, what we also saw during this COVID and last year, late last year, early this year, is there is a lot of interest coming in from different geographies, Africa, Europe, Eastern Europe, South America, on them needing a solution like this. Even we're talking to somebody in South America who kind of talks about how vaccine is an issue. So we are all trying to kind of get the partners to go out and do the sales for us in geographies where we may not be present immediately. Okay, so we are also trying. We are also kind of working on some partnerships with really large vendor on our printing technology. So that will again, if that kind of goes through, then we'll sort of be present in their portal, and they will be presenting our solution to their existing customers as well. Right, and this is with a multi-billion corporate. Okay, so that's about it from my side. So this is actually a revised. Deck that I did only earlier. I think earlier this week. So I've been getting a lot of feedback of it was very complex and stuff like that. So I hope this is a simpler version to understand. But I'm open to any feedback.
Yeah, thank you. I think the presentation itself is nice, but the challenge is that this category that you're targeting, right? So this counterfeiting category, right? It's too broad of a story, right? The first thing people will ask is like, which area are you going with? Which area are you talking about, right? So
by area, you mean?
Then so let's say it ranges, sporting
Sorry, the voice is breaking. Ashutosh, I can't hear you actually. Voice is breaking for some reason. I don't know, it's just me or.
Koushik, I think it's your system. You may have to refresh. Just refresh. That's all you have to do. Just refresh and come back. And maybe go off audio. Stay only on audio and get off video so that,
Okay.
Yeah, go off video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you please repeat, Ashutosh? I'm sorry. Hello.
Okay, I think it was Ashutosh also who has to come back. Don't worry. we are all internet gods. So what I think he was just mentioning was, I let him come back and talk about it. That the presentation is good. Obviously, technology-wise, you're very competent and everything. Maybe make it a little bit more clearer from the investor point of view. If it is for someone for investors, I think maybe that was what he was saying. But let him come back. And Koushik, have you put any ask or something on your in your slides? Maybe I missed it.
No.
Or you avoided that?
No. So we used to have it. So I removed it in this version actually.
Okay. But you are just for the audience and everyone. You are looking to raise funds,
So
right?
looking for $500,000, 600K. USD.
Okay. Great.
Not INR.
Yeah, of course. Definitely. Thanks. Okay, so I think let's wait till Ashutosh comes back. Koushik, but how's the journey? Yeah, that's fine. So, but maybe since you're on camera, it's been recorded and everything, just tell us a little bit more about how's the journey so far. How do you look, say, 6 months down the line? What's been the customer feedback? Are your customers coming from India, outside of India? How's the remote sales? Because you can't travel right now. So some of these things you want to very quickly capture about it.
So I think while COVID was bad, we kind of lost a deal. Or we had it before COVID, and then we lost it because they kept pushing it quarter by quarter. While that was the problem, the other benefit is suddenly we can actually approach the market. So the world is the market, right? Right now there are no constraints. Nobody's meeting in person, and that's the reason I mentioned that we have people coming in from different parts of the world, which pre-COVID mostly would have resulted in me needing to kind of travel. So again, with cash constraints and stuff like that, that would have been impractical to kind of go and talk to customers in different parts of the world just for one meeting, right? But now we can have meetings regularly with all of them. And what we have also kind of managed to do is some of the technologies and products, we have kind of enabled that they can kind of demo it at their own end if given the right instructions. So even though we have some printable aspects and stuff like that, so they can still print it or try it out at their own end without us needing to send samples or us needing to be present there, right? So from a sales standpoint, today we are mostly, you can say not mostly, we are all of inbound and referral. We have not done any outbound so far, right? So for outbound, you need a dedicated team kind of that is doing it religiously. We don't have that, so we are kind of focused on inbound. And but if you're tracking, I mean, so even Titan that we mentioned, so it's all inbound today.
Thank you, Koushik. I'm
Yeah,
audible, right?
perfectly
I'm
audible.
visible,
Yeah.
guys. Okay, because I was a little bit worried about that. I mean, till okay. So Koushik, what we can do now is we'll just take you can kind of be on
Okay.
silent mode, and maybe Naval and Dushyant will get you guys back.
Okay.
All right. And see, one more thing, guys, that what we do here is there's no time limit anything, okay? Because it's not here in interest of time. Please shut up and go off. That won't happen. And Kaushik, what we also encourage is stay in touch with the, Dushyant, you, Naval should all talk to each other also, because we believe that founders talking to each other also creates a lot of synergies and help, despite maybe you're more senior, more younger, but what doesn't matter, okay? So, Kaushik, you have to unmute yourself.
No,
Unmute
I'm
yourself.
saying it doesn't matter. So it's just lottery, right? So
Yes, I mean, I know that you've come back, after a long corporate career, you've worked with Intel, you've been part of a lot of accelerators, you've been part of the ecosystem for many, many years. And, this is all invaluable learnings for everyone, Kaushik. And thank you for being, a very gentleman in terms of sharing your experiences. Also, to let you know, at the TIE Bangalore, we also, we have this IoT forum, and Kaushik has been part of many such sessions. He talks about technology and very, very useful workshops and sessions that he has been part of. So thank you for that as well, Kaushik.
thanks, Vijetha.
Okay.
Thank you.
So now what I would request is Naval or Dushyant. Naval, you would like to come on next? Sorry, I'm not. Whoever is ready and whoever wants to kickstart. Yeah, and thanks, Kaushik, once again. Naval, are you going ahead, or is it Dushyant who's going ahead? We can't hear you, Naval. You're not audible.
Hello, am I audible
Yeah.
now?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah, I can listen now, or if you want to take over, I'm also fine with that.
Okay. And in case there's a bandwidth issue, what you can do is when you're presenting, you can go off video if you want. Up to you. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
can I start now?
Yeah. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I hope the presentation is visible, right? Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead. Absolutely. Go ahead, Naval.
Yeah, fine. Okay, yeah, thank you. So myself, I'm Naval here, and I'm a BTech in information IT. 2012, I came to this job and all, and by 2016, I have started Naval Technologies, and we are into this core banking solution. Okay, so from 2016.
Lot of echo, right?
Hello.
From Naval.
Is there any echo?
And now little better actually. It seems like a hollow kind of sound is coming.
One second.
Yeah,
Anything
it's
better now?
Yeah.
Fine. Better?
No, I.
Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead, Naval. Go ahead.
Hello.
Naval, we can hear you. You please go ahead.
Hello.
Naval, yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, fine, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, by 2016 we have started Naval Technologies, and then
Naval, just wait. I think the echo is still there. I
okay.
think, yeah. So, are you using two devices, or is your camera or something not aligned properly? Just double check that. Check your microphone. Your. Okay. Talk now, Naval. Please talk now. Naval, we can't hear you. Okay, so I think Naval just. Yeah. Okay, Naval. Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. You want to share your screen?
Yeah.
And I think Ashutosh is also back. Ashutosh, welcome back. And maybe maybe we can stay off video to if there's a network issue. That's fine. Naval, you can talk now.
Yeah. Is the echo problem sorted out?
It's sorted out. It's sorted out.
Okay, fine. So yeah, we have started Naval Technologies by 2016, and we are into we are a product-based startup in fintech domain, and we are into neo banking solution. So when we are saying this particular domain, which is always played by big industry players like Infosys or TCS or even IBM, and there are some other places also like Oracle and Global. So these are the big players which is already in this market. So we are in the same market segment. So that itself is very much complicated, too complicated, and we are addressing some specific issues in this particular domain, very specific issues. Okay, so to understand that we should get into an idea of what is happening in this particular domain. So let's say one of the cases which is having 5,000 branches, one of the client which is Manappuram, I think, having 5,000 branches across India, which is having their own IT division. Is there any issues? Can I continue? Am I audible? Hello. Hello.
You are audible, Naval. Yeah.
Can I continue? No worries, right? Okay, fine. So, talking with talking the case of Manappuram, they are having 5,000 branches across India, and initially they were 8 years before they are having their own IT division, and then they moved to IBM. That was a 300 CR deal, and now they went up into this kind of legal complication, and they came back to Macom. So all these kind of 8 years they have lost. Okay, and when looking into some other case, suppose one of the companies we might be knowing ISAF, right? One of the biggest small banks. Okay, and they are coming up with they are using this Global, an American company who is providing a core banking solution, and they are charging 500 CR for 5 years. Okay, 500 CR for 5 years. And they are having their own troubles with the renewals. Okay, so when we are looking into from the small clients to the big clients, whenever this 5-year gap is happening, that means the time of the contract renewal, they are likely to change their vendor. Okay, most likely, because there might be so many reasons in fact, but one of the things which we have to focus here is their expectations, because the exponential cost when this organization, when a bank or finance organization is growing, their exponential cost is getting higher and higher and higher, and the expectation from an IT which is reducing this particular operational cost or exponential cost is not paying it off. So the conflicts start from there itself, and when this conflict start, they will lose their focus on 360-degree scalable solutions. They will only focus on this particular solution, like how this exponential cost can be reduced, how one particular branch can contain more customers, one particular branch with less agents or with less business operation overhead can contain more business process. So when that is not happening, their focus on scalability will lose, and obviously they will be failing to give also failing to bring the intelligence into the system, because they were all traditional. Most of the, if we are checking into SBI and we are looking for a core banking solution, we will ask them, what is the situation right now, how the manpower is distributed. Like, they will simply say that 80% of their manpower is for analyzing the data or getting what the data means. Okay, so this is the problem which is having 100 branches, sorry, 1,000 branches or 2,000 branches like that. So this is how this particular core banking solution, we might be seeing very high tech payment systems and everything, but internally this particular core banking solution is most of them is in chaos, because there is no new vendor is coming up. There's one role, and the existing vendors are locked in a particular situation, which I just explained. Okay, so here we are started in 2016, and we are providing an end-to-end digital banking solutions. Okay, so when we are coming with this end-to-end digital banking solution, it is something which we have to say we are covering from business to enterprise, their business to business, and their business to customers. These three areas we are covering, these three segments we are covering. Okay, so what is the problem with this, why they are not coming into this kind of new age technologies or this kind of 360-degree scalable solutions? So the main problem is, if you checking into again the SBI or any other banks, what is happening here is after 5:30 or after the business hours, they will be doing this day-end processing. Okay, the whole hours the day-ending process, and the day-ending is processed, then the reports will be ready for the next day, and they will stick upon that. Okay, so that's how the things are going right now. So every person in that particular organization will be depending on Excel or any table managers from Cognos or something like that. So the issue is with the ETL, that is extraction, transformation, and loading of the particular data. So when the transaction is getting into millions and millions and millions, the problem is they will be having this kind of problems, because even though the technology is so much sophisticated, the human's ability to absorb the data from this technology or whatever we are providing, like table manager something, is so much limited. There lies a significant bottleneck. Okay, so that's how when we are introducing digital cell technology, actually this technology got validated by TCS Innovation Labs in 2019, and we have also received NASCOM IT Awards for 2019 as well for this technology. So what I'm saying here is, digital cell technology do this particular task, that is from extraction, transformation, and loading of the data in real time. It might be the millions of transactions, but it will do that, and the customer can get, the end users or these operational staffs who is doing this core banking solution can easily manage the system, because they are released from this Excel. The Excel dependency is released, and obviously when this bottleneck is solved, the problem of exponential cost is getting reduced, because one particular credit manager can handle a lot of particular assets. Okay, so coming into these solutions, this is how we are formulating our solution. Okay, core banking solution. So one thing is digital cell technology, which I have just explained how it is working. It is just addressing the ETL part, extract, transformation, and loading of the data. And on the other hand, we have an iBanker. iBanker is an AI instances which works parallel to the human resources. For example, if we have a particular data set which can be converted into information through digital technologies, obviously AI systems can analyze it and make a decision on that. We don't need a particular human resources for dependency. So for example, if one particular credit appraisal officer is not available at the particular moment, the senior manager or the manager above this particular hierarchy can obviously invoke an AI instance and ask the status about that particular system. So the dependency over manpower is breaking over there. So we are slowly enabling our clients to getting into this exponential exponential growth problems against the cost. Okay, and then we have a NEOT-bridge. NEOT-bridge is simply all these particular banks are having their traditional way of banking, like KYC, then getting into the customers, then knowing the customers, then knowing, and some of the other players like Bajaj Finserv or Reliance also coming into the picture right now, is having this Neo brand. They can simply do the KYC, and they will take a lot of risk also, because the interest percentage is high. So this traditional bank are not able to doing this, because one thing is they are locked with their interest rates. They cannot have this kind of 25% or 23% or 30% of interest rate. They are locked with 7, 8, 9, 10% of interest, and they cannot take that kind of risk. They cannot simply absorb public into them and can share their assets as locks. Okay, so what we are doing here is, that's why the tag is very important, Neo core banking solution. We wrap this particular layer inside the traditional banking business model. Okay, so when we are wrapping this particular traditional banking inside a Neo banking layer, traditional banking, whatever the advantage, they can have both the advantages. They can have the advantages of a Neo banking, and they also can have the advantages of traditional business. And when we are looking into this as a whole picture, So when the data is increasing, when the business is increasing, when the customers is increasing, there will be an AI banker system which is monitoring all these kind of things. And there is a diesel technology which can process all the kinds of data, all the kinds of information, even the finance or the statements. That will be 10 million transaction of loan record. It doesn't matter. Diesel will do this thing. And when this is coming, they have this peace of mind. Okay, we are in total control of this particular system. So they can slowly add these kind of new age customer demands, like mobile. See, even if you are looking into the Muthoot system, somebody may be knowing, even if you are taking their online banking application from the Play Store, immediately if you are trying to start the payment, you will be having no idea what is the interest amount, what is the principal amount. You will be just having a column, just type your amount and save the amount. It is not working actually. So this is where we are saying, until we solve this exponential cost or this bottleneck with the friction between the human resources and the technology stack in this particular core banking solution, we cannot take them to the next level of or this whatever we are standing on. The fintech will go that way, but traditional core banking sectors will stay there as it is. So that's the area where we are trying to solve. Okay, so okay, and all this iBanker is again integrated with Alexa, so the top management can simply ping Alexa and ask the questions or queries or even assign the tasks so that the things will get done. Okay, so this is the competitive landscape. So diesel, obviously it is addressing the exponential cost in operation cost and even the infrastructure cost as well, because obviously if the SBI has to work over the end of the business hours to in 8 hours or 7 hours to make the next day ready, and if you are making it in the real time without any without much reduced infrastructure cost, obviously we are having in the real case one of our clients were paying 4 lakhs per annum, and now they are just paying 3,500 per annum. So that must or more than 100% of reduction is there in the infrastructure. That's one side of the picture, but we are reducing the human resource dependency to the systems and thus reducing the exponential cost. Then the minimum business intelligence. Once we are reducing the dependency of Excel systems, or once we are losing this, once we don't need Excels anymore, we can bring this intelligence to the information. Okay, if the Excel report is there, it's just static information. Okay, we cannot bring much intelligence to these Excel reports. Okay, so when diesel is coming into the plot, the customers or our customers are no longer dependent to Excel. There is no Excel or spreadsheet dependency. Okay, so we can bring so many so many real-time AI interpretation to the information or the data. It's a big deal there. And yeah, obviously the data will not be anymore spreading across 6 or multiple Excel sheets. Okay, and then again, if you are looking into some of the big players, they are even not adapted into the big data platform. They are still into their existing way of doing the things because of this particular bottlenecks. Okay, and from there start this 360-degree scalability problems. Okay, so we are providing end-to-end digital solutions. We can introduce new business models. We can introduce complex IT systems. We can reduce complexity because one of the clients which is having this FIS Global itself, okay, or one of the clients who is having like BRD Securities, which is one of the good prominent client in Kerala, they are having 3 IT vendors for specific things. Okay, and they are struggling in between. Okay, so when we are not providing the end-to-end solutions, they will go for other vendors for matching it up, and then the complexity start to rise. Okay, and then there will be security flaws as well. So, and AI is obviously what we are doing in the AI is we are not just bringing AI into the reports or the information or into the analytics, but we are bringing AI into the business process. For example, if there is one particular credit appraisal officer, or if there is one particular officer who is sanctioning this particular loan, if he is not available, the manager who is just above in the hierarchy can call an AI instances and assign the task. Okay, so it's a matter of trust also, but slowly, the whole management will understand AI is also to the par with the human resources. So each and every human resources in a particular organization will be having a corresponding AI instance so that the task can be done. Again, this is a very complicated process, but what we are doing here is we are sorting it against the priority and the complexity. Some tasks can be easily achieved through AI with much reduced complexity, and which will be having a very high priority in the business process. So likewise, we are sorting it out, and we are slowly making our system is fully AI enabled in the business process, not in the information or analytics. And blockchain, we are not developing blockchain, but we are using IBM blockchain as a service. And the two things we are focusing there is we are not making the ledgers mutable. In the finance section, once the blockchain is enabled, the ledgers are no more mutable. And the other thing is like asset-based tokenization. For example, let's go back to the on-prem use case. They will be moving this gold loan here and there, transferring from one point to other point to other point to other point. So when the blockchain is enabled or integrated, or what we can say is, or it's doing through an IoT thing. Whenever this asset is tapped or tampered, they will be getting the corresponding information or something like that. So they are facing a lot of issues there in moving the gold loans. Somebody will open it up and something will happen like that. So blockchain is essential for big players, and we should make it happen with the IoT as well. And this is how the diesel is competing against existing or traditional systems. So if you're having 1.3 million transaction and just taking it spanned across 100K nodes, obviously it will take 8 hours for a particular system with a 4 GB or with minimal hardware request. So diesel will be doing this particular task in just 5 minutes. Okay, and when we are doing this in the
Naval, I think you have 1 more minute, so you wrap up your presentation, so then we can, because we have one more viewer, right? So.
Sure. Okay. So okay, fine. So in TCS Innovation Labs itself, we have simulated 10 million loan records, and which just into 4 hours. Okay. So this is the tech stack what we are having with just all this latest tech stack, and this is how we have started. 2016 we have founded, and then diesel came into the picture. Then we have launched Colligo as a product launch. And then we have reached an MOU with IonQ, and we are going to the next phase of the business development as well. So from 2016 to 2019, we are having around 1.5 CR of around 1.2 CR of 2 to 5 CR of turnover. That is revenue. So 80-90% of the company's working capital is served by bootstrap from the client's revenue itself. So that's how it is working. And we are projecting into 100 CR turnover by 2022, end of the 2022. Okay, and this is okay, fine. So this is the team, and my co-founder is Sobish. He's a finance savvy, and Aisar is our CEO. He was the CEO of Kims as well, and he was the CEO of Technologies Cyber Park as well. So that Karthikeyan is one of the chief technologists, and he was with Microsoft as well. So he's now our director board, and Ashutosh is helping us in the tech and also in the business expansion as well from INQ. And Kesiraj is our vice president. He's got into 30 years of banking experience in State Bank of India. Okay, so this is our team, and we are looking to take this core banking or traditional banking system into the next level. So that's all, folks. Yeah.
Thank you, Naval. In terms of the presentation, right, I think the first thing that I would like to point is you start with the problem statement. I think you had the problem statement in terms of like how, Muthoot and others have a problem, right? So, we start with the problem statement saying that what is actually the story, right? So you have to cover the story that, this is how traditional banking looks like. This is what the problems that come with the traditional banking. This is what the solution is, right? So it's a patented technology, and then you go with that, right? So that way, whoever you are showing it to, whether you're showing it to a business or you're showing it to an investor, they know that what is the problem that you're tackling with, right? And then the second part is, I think you are going too fast, right? So you pause in between, right? So you talk about like, what is the actual problem, right? And what is going on with the problem, right? And then also you should speak in numbers, right? In terms of like, this is the problem, this is the this is the crux of the problem, how much worth it is, how much of that problem translates, right? Because when you're giving it to an investor, right, so they understand the problem space, they understand that core banking has this problem, but how does neo banking help, right? Or what chunk of that neo banking is being helped, right? So every day, let's say if 40 million transactions are happening, and then the slow processing is causing this transaction to slow down for some reason, right? So how does that solution help? So things like that. So having numbers and then having the problem statement in the beginning, will help you a lot, right? And then I would also suggest to go a little less technical, right? In a business presentation, you can go more technical. You can make them understand from their financial perspective, why it's going, right? But in this sense, you have a patented technology, which is diesel. It's great, right? But not needing to go into the detail of how diesel works would be okay. So those are just some of my feedbacks. Vijetha sir, you have something? Vijetha?
I think Ashutosh, absolutely fine. And also, see, look, we did say that that time is not going to be a constraint, and we will not stop you. But then remember, Naval, you owe it to the audience to keep them well gripped and everything, right? So, and someone like Ashutosh is also your mentor and everything. If he says that, it's just keep that in mind. Keep it as crisp as possible, and talk about what you want from us and from the audience well in advance.
Yeah, okay.
Always put that into place, that the reason why I'm presenting today, and that kind of stuff, because see, what you're talking about is very technical. It talks about so many things, which is important, but maybe just keep it as crisp and neat as possible. And practice makes perfect. You're very passionate, you really care, and touch what you are doing for yourself, a good job, and you're growing, etc., etc. Just keep that in mind. But that is really neat, really nice. Do you have any asks? Do you have something very specific that you want to get out from the audience? Remember, this is being recorded, so this is a platform for you to also talk about that. Do you want more customers? Do you want more money? You want more? You looking for team? You want to talk about that very quickly?
Yeah, actually, we are looking into a very professional marketing team because our product is very much fine-tuned right now and it's also rolled out. So what we need is a professional marketing team so that they can slowly get into all in the pan in the person. So we are looking for a marketing team as well, and obviously we need a fund to make it because we were expecting some more growth, but due to the pandemic, we couldn't perform. So as we are expecting. So what we need is a good marketing team, one thing on the other area, and the other area is the fund also for making it like 8 months gap. Or
ठीक है. So just make sure that you have that that ask slide always there, right? It could be for whatever you need, right? We should always put it out because it gets recorded, and then it is out there for the audience. Okay, Ashutosh, anything else? Because I think it's 12:20. We need to move on to Dushyant as well now.
Yeah, just before we move to Dushyant, I had covered the points that I had for Koushik because there was some connection problems at that time. So I'll just do that. So very quickly. So as Dushyant, Koushik, as I was saying, right? I mean, counterfeiting is a broad problem, right? It goes in sector by sector. It goes in your F&B. It also goes in electronics and everything. So and obviously as a startup we want to cover it all, right? But that's when your TAM, SAM, and SOM come in. That where are you starting at? What's your starting point, right? Because as an investor, I'll understand, and then because I didn't see that in the slide, that the question becomes where are we starting at, right? Which counterfeiting problem are we targeting at? Right. So otherwise, it feels very random that we're trying to target something in an area that it may take longer time, it may take shorter time, right? So having that coverage is very important because it's a very broad category to target.
Yeah, it is applicable across industries actually. Yeah,
exactly, right. So but then where do you start? Correct. We cannot say that the problem is that every industry requires a subject matter. So let's say if you're in F&B, you'll need marketing from the F&B side. You'll need people who are able to talk about the F&B and the problems of F&B. Suddenly, if you go into the let's say electronic side, right, it's a totally different ballgame altogether, right? So if you go to an investor, they will know that it's not possible to cover all of it at one shot, right? So you go industry by industry, or you go group by group, and then you target it that way, right? And then eventually, once you have built your platform, you have built it enough that people recognize it, then you take it to the next step. So that's what a focused area would be very helpful from an investor standpoint. That this is what you are focusing on right now, right? And then the second thing is. In your pipeline, we talked about Tenera that you've been working with, but what is the future pipeline looking like? What is the next 3 months? Who are you talking to right now? Where are you in those talks? So from a investor standpoint, they know that it's not just that you've been working with only one client. There are other clients that you've looked at. So it's like a future looking, like the next 3 months and the 6 months. So that pipeline helps in that.
Okay. Okay. I actually did mention,
So
I don't know what point you dropped off, but I did mention about that we are talking to multiple partners in different geographies as well. So
yes,
they in
yeah,
turn, I mean, so we have, I mean, even if actually one of those partners that we're talking to, we can easily hit, say 1 million in a year with them.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, it's as easy because the kind of volume of scale, and they are sort of trying to also customize the product, whatever building blocks we have using that, they can customize the product to kind of target for that complete geography, say in Africa, right? So they are also trying to do something
yeah.
pan Africa. Right now, from the projections I know, if they do it right, 1 million is an easy number just from them.
Okay, I mean, I'm just saying
Sure.
that
Yeah.
especially going to the investor, name drop the area and the partner,
Okay.
right? So just like this location, you don't have to name drop here, but if you're going it there, right? So the area and the partner, so that they know that it's a legitimate entity, right? So because we all try to say that we've been working with multiple people, right? But when you name somebody and then you tell them which part of the discussion you are in with, so sometimes investors are also very well connected. They may say that, oh, you know what, maybe I can help you in getting that connection. So they may do that even if they don't invest, right? So that way it helps,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So always like name dropping it for the investors and the area that you're like let's say Africa, like you said, right? So in Africa you're talking to this person who's going to get you this client, so that helps, right? So then they know how to get that.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Azhar.
All right, thank you. Yeah. All right, Dushyant, can we start?
Okay.
You're on mute.
Okay, we can start.
Yeah, sure, great.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'll share my screen.
Sure.
Hope you can view my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So myself Dushyant, and I'm co-founder of PodPitara. So PodPitara basically a podcasting platform. It provides an end-to-end podcast solution from creation to distribution. And we have a development office in Pune, and recording and operation we are handling from Bhopal. Due to Corona, we are handling all from or remotely accessing all those things from the remote. So basically, it's like people wants to. India is a place where we would like to tell a story. We would like to listen. We love to listen stories or talk shows, but the medium is very now is changed, and we are providing a platform. Either you are a hobbyist or a professional podcast, or an enterprise. You would like to broadcast or brand yourself, or for the providing awareness for your product or services. We are the one-stop solution for it, where you can create your podcast and distribute to different platforms. So the problem currently everyone is facing, the question when we have started in 2016. So the question was, what is a podcast? People doesn't understand what is a podcast in India. Uh, Very few people were understanding what is a podcast, but nobody just like what is a podcast. So the question currently is, which podcast I should listen? Suggest me the good podcast. I can hear from my Google podcast or Apple, so I can hear from anywhere. But what is a good podcast? And also, enterprise also needs a podcasting platform. It's only one-stop solution. Like they just wanted a particular topic, and their podcast should be there. And we understand from we got this problem statement from different enterprises like Dr. Reddy, some education portals like universities. We got the problem statement. They want a solution where they can go for an audio thing, how they can go for it. And also the third statement from the advertiser point of view, the brand also needs a platform where they can broadcast their stories. If I say like we have a five senses, so listening is also a very important sense, and it also get the same thing. If you the beauty with the audio is the imagination. If I say pink color elephant, you can imagine pink color elephant, how big, how small it is. So this thing, brands also would like to get something from out of this imagination power. If they tell a story, and you can listen those story in your private space, when you are traveling, when you are driving your car, or you're trying to sleep. So it will be a good place to position your product or services. Same thing. Right now, people wants to go for the like no screen time. They don't want to watch the video. There are so many people, though those are addicted to videos and all those things. So they are switching to podcasts or audio things. So this is the problem. And if I move to a solution, so over here we are in a process to provide a AI recommended tailored podcast. When you log into the application, and we get your feedback from like what kind of uh, there will be some questions like what kind of questions like your genre, which genre you like, which story type you would like to listen. So on the basis of your inputs, the system will provide you the podcast categories, and podcast recommendation will be there. And after the your listening behavior, the system will automatically provide you the more familiar podcast for your listening. For the creator part, this is very interesting, where we get so many good results with enterprise. And the like enterprise, they need a one-stop solution. Again, I'm repeating one-stop solution. Why? Because they don't want to create a recording room, they don't want to create a hosting solution for it. They need a one simple solution, where they just share the link to their colleague or their customers. For the advertiser, the system also provide a facility where you can select the podcast which is growing, or as per your genre. You can select the space, like a CPM. You can select like a 30-second or pre-roll, mid-roll, or post-roll. Whatever you select, it will play in between the podcast, or initially it will start playing. After your advertisement, the podcast will start. And both you can monetize your podcast, and also you can track the analytic. You will get all the analytics for the listening count and the advertisement points as well. The market size of the podcast is huge and is rapidly growing. In India also, it's also get like 57.6% growth in 2017 and 2018. So in 23, by 23, it's going to reach huge growth we are going to see in the podcast industry itself. And the model we can see, like in US or China, we can get all those like highlights we can get from the two other countries. They are the top is the US, and second is China, and third is India. So in rural area, we are getting a huge crowd who are listening those stories. Recently, we launched Yojana Ka Pitara, and we got a organic reach in rural area in MP. We got 50,000 downloads in the application, and also listen counts over there. So those are the markers, like people would like to listen the stories in regional language, regional dialect. I'm not saying languages, I'm saying dialects, like Malvi language you can see. So we got hits on those specific languages content. And the audio was in a like गवर्नमेंट्स की योजनाओं की जानकारी आप यहाँ पे सुन सकते हैं मालवी लैंग्वेज में. So people are listening and sharing in their friends and colleagues in their network. So as per our experience, we understand enterprise podcast is going to be a next big thing, and we are getting those like those are validated numbers. And currently, we are working with 7 universities where we are selling our enterprise solution. The thing is very simple. We are selling them on-demand radio. Instead of community radio, we are setting up the on-demand radio where our team give them training. how to create the content, and also the platform PodPitara, where you can host your audio shows and episodes, and you can share in your students or faculty, and universities also using those links in their newspaper advertisement, like we have our own on-demand radio. So after one university, we got 6+ university. It was a recommendation from one university to another university, and it was doing good. And recently we have provided one more benefit to university. We have add-on like Android application. It's a white label Android application which is hosting their own shows. So university will have a separate URL for their podcast and a separate Android application for their podcast over there. So they don't have to install other application on their own application. Their shows will be there. And for the enterprise podcast, we signed the MOU with Dr. Reddy's, which would like to provide a solution or provide a case studies in audio for their network. In their network, like they have 83,000 doctors network for Dr. Reddy. So they would like to share a case study on a particular medicine in audio. So doctor who is moving from hospital to home. So in that particular period, they can listen Dr. Reddy's podcast on any kind of a disease or any kind of medicine. They will get update while they are on go. So these are the numbers. If we talk about like in last first half year growth, we got a 251% revenue growth. It's include university, and 2 universities are also lined up, which are going to launch their on-demand radio in 20 days. And we have a paying clientele. In education sector, we have 7 universities. In healthcare, by mistake, so Dr. Reddy is there. And we also working with MP government. It's a women and child development, where we have supported them to create a Anganwadi radio, where 1 lakh female workers are there and who are listening and who are creating the content for Anganwadi. So this is the thing. And monthly average ticket size we have like 17,500 rupees. And with our help, or clientele has bought to like 54,000 rupees radio equipments, which we have shared the quotation and provided the right equipments for them. So in house training we are providing them. We go to their college or university in their place, and we train them, student and faculty, how to record and how to avoid those not to do things. And MRR in last September, it was like 1,57,000 rupees. Till now, we have like 7,000 plus episodes we are hosting currently in 350 shows, and the content total duration is 620 hours. And organic listen counts we are reaching around 2 lakh. We are hoping to reach by March end. And Android downloads, we have a different application like PodPitara and PodPitara. So it's including all those downloads. We have 50,000 plus downloads. So this is the revenue stream we have. First is in the yellow marker is enterprise client, which I have already shared. Like in education sector, we have 7 universities. In healthcare, Dr. Reddy is there. Rural India, we are working with MP government. So we are getting a engagement is not very huge, because the content creation is not that much quality wise. So that's why the engagement is not that much. We are focusing on the content creation as well. So in-house we are going to create the content as well. For the affiliate marketing, we tried a pilot with Oyo rooms, where we generated the coupon PP Oyo code, which we have included in 2-3 stories. and we got some kind of revenue from them, like 2,000 rupees from the OYO for the booking amount, whatever we got from the OYO. And third one is a paid subscription, which is knowledge model, which we are planning, where anyone who can give an audio lecture, and this will be a price between 90 rupees to 200 rupees. You can pay and you get 100 or 50 episodes. There will be, or audiobooks will be there to pay and listen all those things. And the fourth one is the advertisement module. So this one is we are in a discussion with a third partner, like third party, which can provide the solution, complete solution for dynamic ad insertion. So anyone can use those. We have inbuilt solution, but it will work like it has some kind of limitation. So Titan Digital is already a big player in this dynamic ad insertion. So we are in discussion with the dynamic Titan Digital. So all those things will be very easy. So currently, our website is in AngularJS, and OBS we are using for the cloud server. And in March and April, we are focusing to completely change our UI for the application, and give a desired kind of because our listener would get a kind of love to the application. They would love to install the application. They would love to share the application, and they keep the application in their phone. So we can get a daily active user base on listen counts we get on the application. So for the AI part, we are in process. And for the content part, like we are in process to create a 10 original podcast on PodPitara for different category, like in agriculture and women health. So we are in discussion with some doctors and some agripreneurs as well. So they will provide a kind of small talk show for our audience. Text to speech embed player. So we thought about the text to speech embed player, which any website can use, or embed player. And we are a partner with India Today Group, where we are providing a audio news for the lelantop.com. So impact of the COVID, like when we are working with universities, so they have recorded in COVID duration, they have recorded 1,000+ lecture for their students. So all those lectures were hosted on PodPitara, and they were listening on the application and the embed player as well. So also we got a application download as well. So there was a good growth, I would say. This is the team, myself, Dushyant, and I had experience with Vushka. Vushka is also a podcasting platform, and last 4 years we are working on PodPitara, and Ravi is our CTO. So he has 8+ years of experience and different languages. So he's a techie guy. And Drishti is also for the content creator. She is a voiceover artist, and she do all those content recording and the curation of the content. And Deep is also our operation head. So he take care of marketing and the operation of the PodPitara. So this is the competitive landscape. We fall in. We are trying so many things currently. We are providing hosting solution and enterprise solution, and the content creation as well. Like we done for the MP government and India Today as well. So we are in those landscape as well, and we were restricted to user generated content till now. Where we are not allowing everyone to record the content and publish it. Just because the right content should be served on the platform. So we are opening those things for the users, so they can just install the application and immediately record the content. So it will be a kind of a competition basis. So there will be some competition. You can participate in the competition, record specific content to the subject only, not the random content will be there. So this is our next thing we are going to launch in March, by March end. So this was the Anganwadi radio which I was talking about, MP government. So on 17th of September, it was launched by Chief Minister of MP, Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan. So currently it has 10,000 downloads, and it was powered by PodPitara. So that's it from my side. And any question, we are happy to answer it.
Yeah, thanks, Dushyant. I mean, I think this is a very interesting platform. Just one thing, when you started, right? I mean, you talked about different podcasts, and then how many podcasts there are, and then so it kind of led me to believe that you're trying to solve that problem of like curation of the podcast, right? But the more I got into it, I realized that it was more democratizing the podcast, right? So you're trying to get the podcast into tier 2 and tier 3 cities, right? So that when your story started in the form of there are so many podcasts in this, right? So I mean, I think the story should be more around how we can get podcasts in the hands of the tier 2 and tier 3, and then right. So that way it comes out very nicely, right? So then when you're talking about the engagement, right? You talked about how the engagement was low, right? And to solve that, you're trying to you create your own podcast, right? I would put that in a separate slide. I would say that what we learned, or what are the challenges faced and stuff like that, right? And then that also translates into milestones, that your next 3 months is that you'd launch your own, which you have put, right? So in the milestones I saw that it was there, but instead of putting that as a problem, you say that it's a learning that was learned, and then that's what you're putting in your milestones, that you'll be getting that off, right? And then this India Today thing, Times of India, right? Or India Today?
Yeah,
India Today. So having like how you have this media recognition for the MP government. Similarly, one slide for partnerships where you put India Today as a partner, so that would be better because it's a big deal to have something like an India Today as a partner. That's kind of like a validation, and just saying that in one word is okay, but having in the impactful slide that would make much more difference, right? And finally, I would also put some screenshots. I mean, because you have an Android app, so it's best to keep screenshots with you, and then you can show the screenshots of the application.
Okay, yeah.
So
understand.
So those things kind of help you, and so what I understand is it's all about podcasts also, right? So you can say that in the rural area it's like podcast / radio, right? Because you talked about radio as well, right? So I mean, otherwise it feels like, because radio itself is a huge topic of discussion. So it shouldn't be that you're doing radio as well. So it's podcast is the main thing, but the understanding of the podcast in the rural area is such that it's talked as a radio. So you're doing a radio, right? So that will ward off any questions related to radio, because the moment people will say radio, they'll jump on that, oh, you're trying to be a radio channel, right? So that you want to avoid as much as possible. Right? Okay, Vijetha sir, any questions?
Yes, all good, Dushyant. I mean, all your technology folks are very in-depth and very strong in what you present. That is a given. But of course, remember, when an audience is of potential customers, potential investors, a slightly different thinking hat that you have to wear, saying what will appeal to them, what will be the memory hook. Okay, that's such a critical thing, because they get hundreds of emails, they listen to so many, every week. Most of these founders, most of these investors have their pitch days, and they have 10-15 founders talking to them. So what are the memory hooks that you have to practice? And that's something that you should definitely look into, Dushyant. And again, once again, I will always ask you, right? If you had to give crisp bullet points, what is your ask? What do you want? What are you looking for from the audience, from the
Right.
people who are going?
Right. There are so many things, and to the
Three
yeah.
things. Three things. Talk about only that. 30 seconds, three things.
Okay. First is I need to enhance our team first, and second is like a kind of funding. I would say the big bullet point for the funding part, which we need for the marketing part and enhancement of the team. And the third is a so content partner for the content creation. Those three are the or pillar of the application.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Yeah, these are important things. Thank you so much. And what about in terms of enough mentors, enough advisors, your customers and all are all okay, comfortable?
No,
Of
absolutely no. Uh,
course.
so definitely for the marketing part and honestly, I would share we need a very big support for the from the mentor parts who can guide us for the right solution, right path. Because you have seen our your slide. We tried government, we tried rural, we tried urban, everything we have tried. But we are not focusing only one big thing like 10,000 times one thing. So this will get a strength. So just because of the right mentorship, we missed our strength. Uh, we know we missed so many things in the COVID and this particular in time duration. So if we can get a right help, right mentorship, so that will be a give us a very huge jump in enterprise because the market is still open and it's rapidly growing.
Of course, and you will obviously your deal. You're going to be competing with maybe hundreds of people
Yeah,
who are trying to achieve the same thing, isn't it?
yeah.
But great, man. Thanks, thanks. That was very insightful,
Thank
and
you.
it's good that you have been able to articulate what is it, the challenges that you're facing because that is so
Mm.
critical. That will really help. And Ashutosh, we also have Jagat here with us. But thank you so much, Dushyant,
Thank
Naval,
you
and
so much.
Kaushik.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you.
So this is a platform that is hosting us. So thank you, Jagat, for that.
You're mute.
You're muted.
Thanks to you. Thanks to Ashutosh. Thanks to all the founders. I hope everyone had some, it was good value. I hope everyone learned something. Spent 1 hour, right? That's the most important. So, really good. I think really good business. Dushyant, I mean, really loved your radio concept. Yeah, you see what's on our link. We call it /TV. Right. Because you're saying we don't like video. No, we love video. But of course, there are times when audio is very, very useful. I think they really have a beautiful business. Who knows? You can probably take on Clubhouse.
Yeah, look, Clubhouse, there are so many things and some challenges we are facing on tech front. So
We can help you. We can talk. It's not you can get the basic maybe something going because we are also doing the video thing soon. So,
okay, yeah.
but it's really nice to see that's really a good place. Podcast is big. Koushik also, thanks so much. I think we're kind of on the NASCOM group and 10,000 founders. I think. Yeah, I think that's why you saw my post. I think trying to get the source right. So we are also being efficient where we are scouting. So very good to connect. Thanks. And Naval as well. I think amazing neo banking. Like last week also, I think Ashutosh, we had some really good founders. Right. I think the quality of the founders is quite amazing, and that's really nice to watch. Over to you guys, Vijetha Chief. Over to you, and yeah.
So I just realized that we are at 12:50, so it's been 1 hour 20 minutes that we have been on this. So once again, a warm gratitude to Naval, Dushyant, and Koushik for taking the time out, and of course for Ashutosh for this. Your feedback, your inputs, the encouragement is so critical, and Jagat giving the platform. We need this kind of community and ecosystem activities. We need to do much, much more. So Dushyant, Naval, and Koushik, the way that you can also help us, because this is strictly on a community basis, please recommend us more founders and Jagat, add them to the founders feed, etc. Anything else that we can do to make this better, more interesting, more valuable? Feedback is also critical for us because we want to give, but when we give, we have to give it in a very good quality as well. And that's it from my side, guys. And Ashutosh, it's over to you, sir. Back to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you, Jagat, for the the platform, and then thank you, Dushyant, Naval, and Koushik for joining in. I mean, I hope we were able to give some feedback and provide some value. So our like Vijetha said, our whole purpose is that we want to give back as much as possible. And if you feel like you want to contribute, we will add you to the founders field group, and then if you can bring more people, if you feel that this was something valuable and helpful, and then we can continue doing that, right? So.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I must say, like, I need help from you guys to connect the mentors, and so we can get so many things from the community.
Absolutely.
So,
We will add you, and then let's get together. Let's build something. And I think if you look at the comments, Manu has said that he wants to connect with you. So you have one connect right now. So we definitely.
yeah, sure. I just message him, share my numbers as well.
Perfect.
Good to see Pranam Reddy join us. Good friend as well. Vijetha, Pranam also is there. So we have Priyadarshi. So
Yeah,
really nice to
Priyadarshi
have
is here. Chandresh is here. Yes, of course. Pranam has been a very dear friend for many years. Thanks, Pranam, for coming in. In fact, I've given this raise hand option. Pranam, you want to just quickly come and say hi? Chandresh, you can come and say hi. Just 10 seconds. So if anyone's interested, please do that. And Jagat, again, founders feed is there definitely. And Ashutosh, you are also doing a lot of work with InQ. But we want to grow the tribe. We want to grow the community and the ecosystem. We need all the support. And it's not a standalone thing, right? Because as I said, respect for people from Head Start, the volunteer-driven organization. There's so much of things happening, and we should share about all the opportunities that are out there. And NASCOM, of course, a lot of founders who are coming in from the NASCOM thing. I worked with NASCOM. So at TIE Bangalore, we're trying to do as much as we can. We are also putting together lots of showcases and investor connect programs. So we don't stop. We keep the hustle going. Okay. And 12:55, guys. So it's lunchtime on a Saturday afternoon. So I don't want to. Jagat, anything else that you want to talk about? Startup Sunday we're doing. We have been doing this startup stories with Ashutosh, and we want to keep growing the network and the community and the tribe. That's what really matters.
No, I won't take any time. I think everyone's hungry. So, but yeah, everyone's got to do their small bit, to contribute and build the community, right? I think it's something that you put in, X, and you really get 5X out of it very, very fast. So, everyone should look to put in. That's my only request and follow-up.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone. Bye bye.
See you.